Welcome to The Source with your host, Dr. C.T. Curry, and co-host Kobe Owens. News all across the nation. The Source. Stay in the loop in the city of Wilmington, Delaware. Work together for change in the community. A call to action to find the resources. The Source, the latest in news.
Good evening. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
And welcome to The Source. Kobe, man, we're going to talk because I know on your Kobe Corner, I know you're going to spend some time talking about this Elon Musk and Donald Trump fight. It is a good fight. I mean, I pulled out the popcorn and I began to just watch back and forth. But we're going to get to our local stuff first. So for those of you who are watching us, please stay tuned because we're going to go through that, and it's just mesmerizing. But I do want to turn our attention to this week's things that are happening in the city. We have two shootings. Well, one only this week, but then the week, because we record of the week before. But first, let's talk a little bit about the man that was shot on North Pine Street just on Thursday.
Yeah, so there was a shooting not too far from the Stubbs Early Education Center in Howard High School. The individual was transported. It was a 20-year-old man. He was transported to the hospital in critical condition. But again, that happened in the 1000 block of North Pine Street. Again, so close to where kids are playing. And it happened at 2:30.
Yeah.
School's not fully out yet. But it happened so close to where both little kids and high schoolers both go and get out of school around that time. And it took place just after 2:30. That's the scary part, right in broad daylight.
And that's when dismissal time really is. And like you said, we're not finished. Some graduations are going on, but we are not finished with school. And I do, again, I'm not trying to give too much credit to the city police department or the mayor's office, but I got to be honest, I've been seeing a whole lot of presence of police, and I just don't understand why we can't really shake some of this violence with all the presence, and they are solving. I've even seen some cases they have solved. Do you have any?
They are solving them quicker. I will say that there has been a restructure of where police officers are being placed, which has helped in some of these cases. But again, for something like this, I don't know what the intent was behind this. If it was an argument, if it was targeted whatsoever. Again, we as a community also have to come together and hold people accountable who do things like this.
Yeah. Well, we're going to definitely keep looking. If you know anything, please make sure you communicate with the police. If you have any ring cameras and things of those nature, that where you know of some information that can help the police, I think it's going to be very important that everybody do their part. Because that's one of the things that we're trying to do as well. We're bringing it to the attention of those who are watching us. And for those who are who have other resources or information, we want you to share that with the police department as well. Let me also turn our attention to last Thursday. There was also another shooting in the 800 block of West 7th Street. That's that area is just not good. But
yeah, that area is literally catty corner from the Hicks Anderson Center. It's actually about earlier that month, or maybe it was the prior month, a young man, 24-year-old man, was killed in front of the Hicks Anderson Center. Fast forward to May 29th, that night there was a shooting where two individuals were injured. One ended up passing away, a 56-year-old man who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. From my understanding, it was someone who the community knew, and he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he ended up passing away at the hospital from those bullet wounds. And then there was a 19-year-old who was taken to the hospital in stable condition, and as of right now is still alive. But again, this is the second major shooting that has resulted in death in that area, right next to a community center. I know that Councilwoman Christian Wilhauler, who represents that area, and Councilman Alex Hackett, who lives in that district as well too, he's at large, held a community meeting over there earlier this week to talk about the violence and how you can get more programming in to get some of the kids in. because for both shootings, there was kids outside instead of being inside the center.
Yeah, and while I'm very grateful to see the action of City Council and your council colleagues who are trying to increase the programming and things of that nature, but we really got to make sure that we're doing something because it's not the kids now; they're at danger. So we do want to get them indoors. But whatever happened when I was now you younger than me, but at one point all we could do is be outdoors.
Yeah.
I think that we take away their vitamin D. When you keep them inside, we have to try to find a way to get our communities safer. And I think that's some of the strategic planning that maybe the council may need to start doing as well, is thinking about how we can deal with it. Because it's just so, I mean, it's week after week and it's happening in areas we don't have that many homeless centers, not homeless centers, what do you call those?
Safe havens.
Community centers. But the few that we have, we want to make sure that they at least are safe, not just inside, but also outside. Who's the director of Hicks Anderson at this time?
So it's our acting parks director, who is Dr. Melanie Phillips.
So is she over there? Or?
She's over both Hicks Anderson and the parks.
So so is there a person managing the day-to-day? Is she doing the day-to-day?
No, there's no one in the day-to-day role.
Now, the question...
From my understanding.
And I know you are coming from your own knowledge, personal knowledge. So what about the people who are they going to apply? Is that going to be a position open, or are they closing that position? They phase that position out? Because I remember some of the directors.
So it has been a position in the past. It is still in the budget to have someone over there. I know they have different people who's under her who have filled in that role, but I believe it's flexible as of right now. So it has changed a little bit. Again, the mayor is restructuring Parks and Recs fully. So we'll see, hopefully when that restructure completes, we'll see more permanent directors there, but then also people who have experience with different programming and stuff. There's great staff over there now, but I know he's changing some things up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna keep our eyes open, and we're gonna be praying as well as watching and hopefully strategically planning to try to make it a safer haven, because the children, they deserve more, and sometimes it seems like those who have less always get the short end of the stick. I want to turn our attention to something that is almost personal with me. My daughter was a student at Red Lion Christian Academy. I removed her, even though it has the name Christian Academy. There was a whole lot of things being permitted to go on there that I did not like. And I'm not really coming out against Red Lion, but I am, because it's just too much, and it's too much looseness. And I hope that when the state officers, now they have arrested this 34-year-old person, monster, as far as I'm concerned, for raping this 14-year-old girl. My daughter is 14. This young lady was in her class when she was in the 6th grade. And as I look at this horrible thing, and we're going to show a quick clip of this, just so that people can get an update for those who may not be paying attention to it. We're going to take that quick clip, and then I'm going to come back, and we're just going to have a couple comments I want to say that I hope that the state is looking at as well. We're going to look at this. Look at this.
Disturbing charges tonight. A driver for a Christian school in Delaware is accused of sexually assaulting a student. Police say he had a sexual relationship with that teenager for over 6 months. It is Monday night, and the big story on Action News is a sexual assault investigation in Newcastle County. Authorities say the suspect drove for Red Lion Christian Academy and that his 14-year-old victim was a student he transported to school. Action News reporter Brianna Gallagher is in Minkledale with all the details. Brianna.
We spoke with neighbors who were surprised to hear of the arrest. One recalls seeing nearly a dozen police vehicles on their block late last night.
Last night, between 10 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., 10 to 15 cop cars around the block, and there was a gentleman being escorted out in handcuffs.
34-year-old Joseph Casares is now behind bars for allegedly having a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old girl.
First, I was like, what's going on? It kind of made sense because I noticed that guy earlier, doing suspicious activity. So I wasn't kind of that surprised that it could be him.
I wish I could say it surprised me, but it doesn't. It's scary though.
Newcastle County Police say it was the 14-year-old who came forward to authorities on Sunday. Detectives determined the relationship began in November of last year and lasted until May.
It's sad, disappointing. Sometimes, I mean, the whole situation feels hopeless.
Police say Caceres drove a van for the Red Lion Christian Academy. Investigators say he had regular contact with the victim as he provided her transportation from school. They say he met with her in public, in his vehicle, and even brought her to his house where they engaged in sexual activity.
To know that somebody that lives super close to me would take advantage of the school system is really sad.
Neighbors tell Action News Caceres lived in the area for a while. The neighborhood is full of children and families.
I think it is shocking. When anybody, it is shocking. It doesn't matter. But to be my neighbor, that's really crazy to me. Heart in the stomach.
He's currently facing 5 felony counts of rape in the 3rd degree on $100,000 cash bail. We reached out to the school for comment, but have yet to hear back. Reporting in Minquadale, Brianna Gallagher at Channel 6, Action News.
Kobe, on that clip, it talked a little bit about, first of all, it was just a disgrace that, one, he was able to take this young lady to his home, go to her home, communicate with her, and where is the parents? Or where are the parents? Excuse my grammar.
No, I think that's a very valid question. I think also the school has to do a better job with vetting who's going to be in contact with their kids. I know for most school districts, you have to go through various background checks, get certifications, and all this other things. I would love to see what paperwork they had on him.
And that's what's being held quiet. Even with the reporting of the general news, they are not responding. But I think that just as we're going to hold this animal for what he has done, the school has a responsibility to take care of our children, and I'm not happy, and parents do they as well, because I also want to know, where was her parents, her mother, her father? Why is it that he can go to their house and nobody even recognized this individual? My daughter again was in the 6th grade with her, and we're not giving out any names, quite natural, but regardless of what people may want to say negative about the child, she's still a child.
This guy was 20 years older than her.
Absolutely.
20 years older.
And he probably have mastered manipulation very well to be able to, and it doesn't take a lot for a 14-year-old child. And then how is it that, you got neighbors saying they're not surprised on the video, or they weren't surprised, and nobody ever reported this guy? Right. What kind of society are we living in?
One that everyone tries to keep to themselves, and we can't be like that any longer.
No, we cannot. And I, for those of you who have children who are in our public schools, our private schools, whatever, hold teachers accountable, hold administrations accountable. And I want to know, and I'm gonna keep digging until we find out, what was the vetting process? What was the vetting process for this animal to be able to, for 6+ months, was able to rape this girl? This baby, this child, and nothing was estranged. And now maybe he was able to get that part past them, but how did they find him? What tools did they use to vet him and their drivers?
Yes.
If he has something on his record, and I really want to know, I think Red Lion should be held accountable just as strong as him.
And I know for community centers and for schools as well too. You have to go through the Identigo FBI background check.
Oh my gracious.
As a board member, I have to go through all that as well too, where I will not be able to serve in my capacity as a board member, because there is a possibility I may be in a building when children are there, right? So there are, I will say, on a state side, right, they have set up safeguards that they stay on top of it, and you better not let it expire by one day or they're on you, right? So again, I'm really interested to see why the school didn't have better record keeping, but then also how this was able to happen. I know we're in a bus driver shortage and everything, but still, you still have to take this very serious when you're talking about children's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And even here at eZion, we have to vet to a place where I have everybody. I don't care who you are. You have to. You have to be able to look at their backgrounds. Not so much me. We go through that. What's it called? IGO or where you got to do your background check. Identigo. I mean, every last person, whether you are the maintenance person here, whether you are an office worker, because your ability to be able to come in contact with a child is there. And even though we are a second chance organization.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I want to be very clear. We are a second chance organization. Some people made mistakes in their lives and we forgive them. But if they can have anything, and the first question I ask, is there any reason why you will not be able, you have anything on your background where you will not be able to be around children?
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to say, you went to the store and you stole something and okay, I'm going to give you a second chance. But if you harmed a child, first of all, I'm never going to give you a second chance. But by the same token, I don't think that it's fair that that he was. I just don't know. We don't know. Maybe he never did anything wrong. Maybe we just talking, and he's done nothing wrong, and they vetted him well. But they should say that. Put it out there. Be transparent, and not being transparent is very, very troubling to me. I do want to get ready for the Kobe Corner because I really am interested in having this long conversation or short conversation regarding Elon Musk, and I hope that we get a chance to do that. But that's all I have for this part of the show. Is there anything else on your docket?
That's
today?
all I have.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna be right back.
Smiles are powerful. A simple smile can light up a whole room. And for 25 years, Smile Train has been lighting up the world with smiles. And each smile marks a step towards a brighter future. As the world's largest cleft lip and palate charity, Smile Train has supported more than 2 million life-changing cleft surgeries in over 90 countries, leaving a legacy of resilience, joy, and beaming smiles for generations of children. To learn more about cleft lips and palates and how Smile Train is supporting the cleft community all over the world, please visit smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, lighting up the world with smiles for 25 years.
As a mom, I want my kids' lives to be filled with joy and possibility, and I want that for every kid. That's why I support No Kid Hungry. They work in schools and communities to make sure every kid gets the healthy meals they need. Please join me in supporting No Kid Hungry for all kids.
Thank you!
Join us live for our weekly worship. Every Sunday at 9 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube.
Well, Pastor, I'm doing the best I can, but I still gotta have a little Chardonnay, and I still gotta have a little this, and I gotta still sneak around. The devil is a liar. That's an excuse.
Wilmington's most exciting church.
Christopher Holton. I'm very active. It was a Saturday morning. Normally I go for my normal walk.
With no warning, Chris suffered a near-fatal heart attack. But thankfully, Brian Buckley, a bystander, saw him collapse and rushed to help.
He did this big gasp for air and then just stopped. It's like I went into autopilot. It's like all that training I did back in the day around CPR just magically came out of nowhere.
Because of the CPR training that Brian received, Chris did make it and didn't die on the trail that day. CPR training provided by the American Heart Association.
Looking at your hands, these two hands could save a life.
Being a father, you want to be around. You want to be around for your kids.
Heart disease is America's #1 killer. To learn more about how the American Heart Association helps save lives, go to helpheart.org.
And we're back. Kobe, what's going on with the Kobe Corner?
Yeah, so anyone who still is on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, has seen the big fight over the big, beautiful bill.
Yes.
President Elon Musk
okay.
and wannabe President Donald Trump are fighting. Elon Musk has officially left his role as the head of DOGE, which is the Department of oversight, government efficiency, something like that. Those two are in a huge fight where Elon Musk is talking about the fact that he did all these spending cuts, and then Trump turned around, put more money into the budget, raising the deficit, and that the big beautiful bill is a horrible bill and that you should vote it down. Trump finally fired back, stating that, oh, well, if we truly wanted to save money, we should just cut all your federal contracts and incentives that you get. And then Elon Musk fired back saying that he's going to outlive Trump. He's good. And also called for his impeachment.
Yes. Yes.
So again, this has been a very interesting fight. It is now getting very personal. Elon Musk stated that the reason why Donald Trump has released documents for the MLK shooting, RFK, JFK, all these others, but not Jeffrey Epstein, is because Donald Trump is not only in the file, but he is interwoven through the file, as Elon said.
Wasn't he even showing videos of him dancing and things like that? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And he stated that the truth will come out soon, and it's very interesting. Now, one of the ones that was very interesting is Elon admitted to buying the election for Trump.
Yeah.
And said, without me, Trump would have lost the election. Democrats would control the House. Republicans would be a 51-49 in the Senate, stating that Democrats would have won in Ohio and in Pennsylvania. So again, it is very interesting that now that they're fighting, all the truth is coming out now. And again, this is extremely funny because for the last 4.5 years, Donald Trump talked about a stolen election. And now his chief financier, who orchestrated his steal, is coming out and admitting that they used illegal tactics to buy an election in swing states such as Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. So again,
and I would like to see some of the techniques, because if that's the case, then the Democrats need to just be quiet until they get back in charge in 2 years, we hope, and really start bringing that stuff to the front. I think Trump has really played with fire this time, and it will not. It's going to burn him. It's going to burn him to a level that's interesting. But before I go to a lot of my questions I have, the first question that comes to my mind is, do you think the big, beautiful bill is going to pass?
I don't think it's going to pass the Senate without some changes to it. And then if those changes do happen, it has to go back to the House, where I think the hardliners will be upset about some of those changes. But
Elon is saying don't vote on it.
Elon's saying,
and I'm going
kill
to run,
the bill.
and I'm going to run people against people, and they know how that feel. They know how that feel. So do you think people are going to still vote with Trump?
No, I think you're going to have some defects. I think you have 4 who already were on the fence about the bill. But I think you're going to see a few others who are going to scale some things back. Now, I want them to return funding for Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP benefits. If they want to cut, the tax breaks for the rich, oh no, I'll be so heartbroken. But again, this is what they're doing now. I will say, Trump is talking about cutting even more electric vehicle subsidies, right? And that's a direct attack at Tesla.
But he said that was the reason why Elon was upset, because he had to tell him directly, we are going to cut that tax incentive, which was really helping a lot of people go to a greener country as opposed to all that fossil fuel stuff. So he said that was the real reason. I think that's what really ticked Elon off the most.
So for him, that tax incentive, it helps people buy his cars. But if you look at it, in reality, most of those tax credits aren't going to Teslas. They're
not
going
now.
Even before Trump took office, other American companies, they saw a huge increase in the amount of electric vehicles that were being sold. You just have seen Tesla have a longer run with it, so that's why you saw more Teslas on the road. And that's also why you saw their prices drop so dramatically from when they first came out and they were 80,000 to you being able to get a updated model for about 37,000. So again, the companies that really benefited from it were Jaguar, Chevy, Ford, and companies like that, Cadillac as well. So
why you pointing at me when you said that?
Because you got a nice Cadillac
okay.
now.
Well, it's a electric. That's all we say. It's not it's not Tesla.
But yeah, Tesla would be impacted by that as well too. And again, Tesla has taken a hit since Musk has been in this role. And again, I just want to say, the people have power, right? These rich, super wealthy people think, oh, it's all about them. It's all about them. Ask the CEO of Target. Ask Elon Musk how it feels.
Yes.
Because when we start coming together and directing our money towards other things, now they start to suffer. And because I mentioned that the CEO of Target was talking about hardship in 2025, this man makes over $23 million a year. But it's a hardship for him because he's having to reduce his pay a little bit because of such funding loss. So again, when these billionaires fight with one another, I just sit back, pull out some popcorn, and I enjoy the show because that's what this is. This is real housewives of the White House.
Yeah, but there's danger now.
It is.
Even though it is entertaining, some of the things that both of them are claiming against each other can be viewed in criminal court. And he talking about the how you say his name? Epstein report. Epstein report. If Trump, they say that he's not indicted in anything in there, but if he's really it was the mega folks who went so hard against the people who were a part of that lifestyle, recognizing that their master was not a part of it.
Right.
For him to now be a part of it, it can create some serious problems for that mega movement. My next question is, what do you think? How much influence do you think Elon Musk have in the mega movement?
I believe he has a good amount of influence there. I still say Trump runs that movement, but I also think that money can persuade a lot of people, especially in that movement. And if you can buy the ad time, if you can take up the space on the social media where most of them are getting their information, especially since he owns X, which is one of the number one ways they're getting their information, I think he can start swaying a lot of them.
Do you think that the Democrats are paying a close attention and will begin the process of really saying what we're going to do beyond? I know there's going to be a big push to get health care and all those things dealt with, but there are some criminal activities that have been alleged, like buying this election. We knew that, we had no proof. Now the two are fighting. He's admitting pretty much, I bought this election without me, so because they both got these big egos, so you're just talking. Do you think that Trump will survive a second term? And would Republican, because Musk is against him, would they get enough votes in the Senate to remove him? That's a big question.
I don't think they would get enough votes, even if you only had, I think you would only need like 10 or something Republicans to defect. I don't think they would get enough votes. And they definitely don't have the votes in the House.
Not now.
Not
they
now.
Would have they only need 51 in the House. So if the Democrats...
No, 51 in the Senate.
No, you need 60 in the Senate.
60 in the Senate, 218 in the House. Sorry.
Yes. So that means 51%.
Yes.
So you only really need. If they're the majority, they're going to have 218. We know the vice president would not vote with them, but I'm sure you can get one or two more.
Right. So you would look at the people who voted to impeach him before.
Are they still? Well, the only one's still there.
Cassidy, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski.
They voted to impeach?
They all voted to impeach.
Okay.
I could also see potentially Mitch McConnell
Oh, yeah.
on his way out.
Yeah.
Or no, he would be gone. He would be gone. Because he's retiring this go round. Or John Curtis, the guy who replaced Mitt Romney. So again, it's very interesting to see how this is all going to go. But again, you know, at the end of the day, both of them are wrong. They stole the election. They barred it out. This is another reason why we need stronger campaign finance laws. But then also, secondly, we need to make sure that come 2026, that we're flipping the House and doing our very best to flip the Senate.
That's my language.
And I believe that with this Elon and Trump fight, this pits more states in play, right? Elon and Trump both have very low ratings in Texas right now, in Ohio right now. So, and even in Florida, right? So Florida has a special election. Ohio has a special election. And then Texas has their regular election that's already getting a primary there on the Republican side. So again, that adds 3 more seats to play. Hopefully this keeps impacting in Alaska as well too, so that state can be in play. And then Maine and North Carolina are the 2 biggest opportunities that the Democrats have.
Yeah, I'm paying close attention while I was sharing how I was enjoying the fight. It's really, as in the days to come, it's going to speak. And I want to know, because we thought that Putin had information on Trump, which I still think he does, where Trump has really knuckled down to him to make sure that he doesn't put out anything. And he was quiet for too many days for Elon not to have information on him. Then when they decide, and if he would just shut up in that briefing that he had with the Japanese Japan prime minister, if he would just shut up, I think he would have been still quiet. But it got to a place where they couldn't handle it no more, and he just went all out. I don't know. We're living in perilous times, but I did say this to my wife, and I'll say it to everyone who's watching us, that at some point there was going to be a breakage, in his this total power he has, and where people can just do what they want to do. And I think that now we're at that breaking point, and we're going to see how it turns out.
Yeah, we're going to see how it turns out. But again, you know, we have to make sure that we take this opportunity to capitalize, right?
Yeah.
So while these 2 are fighting, we should be making sure we're mobilizing and getting people out to tell them to vote no on passing this bill, because of how many people are going to be impacted by the cuts that are in this bill currently right now, even though it adds to the deficit.
What about Marguerite Taylor Greene, whoever her name is? What about her, who said, if I would have read this line, I would have not?
It just, again, it's more fluff from the Republicans. They don't read, they just listen to their master. And right now, both their masters are fighting.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what side they side on. But at the end of the day, you took that vote, you voted yes, you stood on business when you voted. So again, you got to own that.
Right.
Speaking of budgets and everything, on June 3rd, the Delaware Joint Finance Committee voted to include supporting first state students and teachers by adding additional coverage to support the state Medicaid program, further sponsorship of the state rental assistance program vouchers in the 2026 fiscal year operating budget. Again, it's been a very unique challenge for the state of Delaware because of the potential cuts. And what they're predicting, and I am as well too, is once this bill down in DC passes, it probably won't be until later this year. Our General Assembly is probably going to have to come back into session to work on this, to work on pitting additional funds where we're losing money at. That probably won't be until September, October-ish, maybe even not until November. The General Assembly goes out of session June 30th is their last day. So again, the budget had been presented by outgoing Governor Carney. and then it had been rewritten to include some initiatives from incoming governor, now current governor Matt Meyer. So now everything has been done, and it has been done without raising income taxes, which was a huge, huge,
Did they
huge
find
factor.
money somewhere else that they didn't anticipate?
Yeah, so DFAC, which is the Delaware Financial Advisory Committee, they come together, I believe it's quarterly, and make projections on what our spending is, what our revenue is, to make sure we're not in a deficit. And after this last meeting, based off revenue, we were going to have 98 million extra dollars in revenue. And that was what they were able to use some additional money to put towards some programs here in the state of Delaware. Again, this is some major that's not a little bit of change. That's a lot of money. But the vast majority went into the Medicaid state side of Medicaid. Also in the bill, $8 million is earmarked for direct literacy support, especially with the state's single-digit proficiency schools up and down the state. A few of them are in the city of Wilmington, and a $3 million pilot program for direct classroom support for boosting literacy. This is going to be huge. They're also increasing teacher salaries, and then additional $33 million to cover projects growth in school. So again, that's fixing up some of the schools as well too. Yeah. $3 million for universal free breakfast for students. This is not what Representative Moore and Senator Lockman was pushing, which was universal meals, both breakfast and lunch. This is just for breakfast. I know that Governor Meyer's campaigned on universal meals, but they are only doing breakfast at this time. And again, as more updates of the bill comes out, the final text has not been released just yet. I will keep you updated on what is in the bill and how it's going to impact the state as well too.
Okay.
Next, I'm going to talk about the city. So after a very contentious, long month and a half debate on rent stabilization, where we had hundreds of people either reach out via email, phone call, giving public comments, stopping people on the street, knocking doors, signing postcards throughout the city of Wilmington. It came to a final vote earlier this week on Thursday. And unfortunately, the vote failed. It has 6 yes votes, 5 no votes, or 4 no votes, 5 no votes, 1 present, 1 absent. So again, the ones who voted yes was myself, Councilwoman Darby, Councilwoman Harley, Councilwoman Wilhauler, Councilman Hackett, and Council President Congo. The ones who voted no was Councilwoman Oliver, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilwoman Cabrera, and the ones who was present was Councilwoman McCoy, and then the one who was absent was Councilman Johnson, who's dealing with some family stuff right now. So again,
what was the main reason for the no votes?
So the biggest argument I heard is it's too restrictive to the free market and to landlords who had threatened that if this had passed, they were going to leave out the city of Wilmington.
How could a landlord leave the city of Wilmington when the building is already here?
So they would sell the building.
Okay, well, somebody else will rent it.
Someone else will get it. That's my thinking. Mayor Carney had already stated that if it had passed, another no vote was James Spadola, Councilman James Spadola. John Carney had announced that if it had passed, he would have vetoed it. So technically, we needed 7 to pass it, 9 for it to be veto-proof. We were only able to get 6 votes after hours and hours of public comment over multiple meetings for this. And I believe we have 4 different meetings in which this was talked about.
Who's the sponsor of that bill?
Councilwoman Darby.
And one of the things I think that we need to do is use this as a lesson. This could help the tenants. If we're going to effectively fight for people that we feel are marginalized, then we have to sit at the table and have a conversation. And I'm thankful, you voted in favor of it and a couple others. And I think it was a good bill. I really think we should have. But I think a lot of the no's had to do with revolt against the fact that some of these people vote against everything. You cannot do that. And that's why I asked that question. I didn't know who sponsored it, but I had a feeling who sponsored it. You cannot constantly vote no with other people when you need their help, expecting them to come and help you. Everything in any bill we don't agree with.
Right.
We have to learn the difference. And I'm just shocked that we couldn't get that across with 9 votes.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. But sometimes the sponsor of the bill creates some of the problem too. And I'm gonna say that, and I'm not afraid to say what I want to say. But I think at some point she's gonna have to start working with council. Because even with the budget, I had an issue with the people who voted against the budget. Everything, what was in the budget that was so egregious that caused you not to vote for it? If it was something there like take away Medicaid, take away Medicare, close all schools down, sure. But when you start talking about little line items that really doesn't make a strong impact on people, I think we got to start negotiating and compromising so that we can get other bigger things done. My uncle used to say, I got bigger fish to fry. I think they need to start using that theory. So I'm going to leave it there. You're not the spokesman for the city council, but I am one who's going to challenge and ask questions because I thought that one would pass. It did not. And it did not pass, and it wasn't even proof. So even if it would have passed, it would have failed.
Yeah. So the next thing we talked about in a very long meeting was the last call legislation. That was something that I put up. And I put it up for a few reasons. This would extend last call here in the city of Wilmington from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. And it has something to do with nightlife, but it's not solely about nightlife, right? It's about positioning the city of Wilmington to be competitive, attractive, and forward-looking as a city, right? We have, in 2026, we have multiple once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generation events coming. The World Cup will be in Philadelphia, right? And Philadelphia market always will overfill, and we need people to come to the city of Wilmington so that we can get additional revenue here. It's America's 250th birthday. It is an opportunity where people are going to be coming to this region, as we were the first state. Philadelphia was the birthplace of democracy. People will be in this region as we have those events. So we must seize the opportunity to make sure that we are ready to bring in additional revenue here for not only visitors, but then also it is a critical tool of attracting young professionals to the area, recruitment and retention wise, especially when it comes to millennials and Gen Z. We have buildings who are sitting at 60% occupancy here. And I talk to a lot of people who are in my generation who says, hey, there's nothing to do in Wilmington. Your schools aren't the best. I have no control over the schools. I could do something about nightlife, right? So this is about pairing it to make it better. And this isn't something new. Actually, Senator Margaret Rose Henry introduced this back in 2013 to try to get it done on a statewide level. This would just be asking for a city level one. And it could be rolled out as a pilot where we could stagger the different times so not everyone's letting out at the same time. But in the region, we are the earliest to close up shop, right? And what happens with that, you have a lot of people who may leave here around 11:45, 12 o'clock and try to rush up to Chester, to try to rush up to Philadelphia, right? This will be able to keep people here in the city of Wilmington where they can walk to the bars, can walk to nightlife. And when I say nightlife, it's venue spaces, it's hotels, it's restaurants, also will be able to stay open later, not just the bars, but again, it encourages a more walkable city as well too, where you don't have to get on the road and drive up 95 or down 95 or try to make it to Elkton or something like that.
And how was there a vote on that?
Oh, it was a vote. Yes, it passed.
See, you did
sorry,
all that.
I did all that talking
and didn't even tell us all that passed. I was like, okay, I hear you. I'm thinking that maybe it didn't pass how you were talking.
So it did pass. It passed with 7 yes votes, 1 present, 4 absent, and 1 no vote. So the 1 no vote came from Nathan Fields, who represents the 8th district, where the biggest party area is.
Yeah.
So I completely get his no vote. I respect that, actually. But this is just to start the conversation, hopefully to get a sponsor down in Dover to start working on this. And then from there, we will be able to move forward.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that it got through. And who were your yes votes? And then I'm gonna let you know.
Myself, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilwoman Harley, Councilwoman Wilhowler, Councilman Hackett, Councilman Congo.
Okay.
Council President Congo.
All right. Well, we got that one passed. I don't know if I want. I'm not up at 1 o'clock in the morning, so I don't. I won't benefit from that. But I'm just always trying to watch the dynamics and seeing how things are happening and who's voting and who's not voting, because this part is very important. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I just want to spend the final part of our show just talking a little bit about how this federal budget is going to really impact and hurt poor people, because we have not really spent any time, and we get a lot of time talking about Medicaid, which is huge. I mean, people are going to die if we let this go through. I want them to see when the Senate is because we are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, and for those of you who are watching us, for those of you who only watch us on Channel 28, please try to check us out. We in high definition on YouTube. You can go to E. Zion Fair Baptist Church and you can see us live, and I'm enjoying both places, whether we're on Channel 28 or there. You should take some time to just look at us, and you can go back and look at us again and again and again. But I do want to encourage you to start using YouTube. But I really want to talk a little bit about this whole budget, because it's starting to trouble me as a pastor who know a lot of his congregants are on Medicaid and Medicare. So we're going to see how that turns out. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
How you doing, community? I'm Alexander Hackett, and I'm here today to talk about Community Staffing Agency. I am the owner of an educational staffing firm. And what we do is we staff all the schools in Delaware with substitute teachers, paraprofessionals, janitorial, and even substitute nurse. So if you have a school and you need our services, please contact me. But also, if you're in the community right now and you're looking for a job, please find me. And the way you can find me is by visiting communitystaffingagency.com, but also get into my direct line, 302-252-8982. Please contact me, please reach out. If you need assistance with your school, or if you're looking to get into school, Community Staffing Agency is the place to be.
Hey, this is Pastor Curry, pastor of the E. Zion Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya and anything you can do about it. What we're going to do today is we're going to have a real good conversation. I'm excited. Come on! Every Sunday at 11 a.m. Why don't you call somebody real quickly? Tell them Coffee with Curry is on. And let's get after it.
And we're back. Kobe, with all sincerity and seriously, I'm concerned. There's a whole lot in this budget that is really egregious. We do know, without any emotional part of it, that it's going to benefit the rich.
Yeah.
The Republicans have always believed the trickle-down theory, that you take care of the rich and they'll provide jobs for the poor. It has not worked. It never worked. Under Reagan, it didn't work. But now we're at a place where this big, beautiful bill is going to harm people. In your opinion, let's discuss for a few moments on some of the things that's in this bill that's really going to hurt poor people.
Yeah, I think the number one thing, and what is so scary about this is healthcare, right? Um, it's going to impact Medicare and Medicaid, two programs that help both seniors and low income residents who drastically need it, right? They are trying to push people off, push assets off. And if this does go through, it's not going to solely be Democratic states that are going to be impacted by this. Actually, overwhelmingly, if you look at the numbers are very high in red states, and they're not red was just blue or purple states. It's deep ruby red states, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, or some of the states that will be hit the hardest, right? You have these senators and representatives who are Republicans no longer holding town hall meetings because they're saying, oh, the people who were showing up are Democrats. No, they're not. They are deep red MAGA supporters. You can go on their social media pages. They've been MAGA since what, 2019?
Yeah. 16.
Or 2016. This is going to impact a lot of people's lives. And I just think you have these ultra wealthy people who are sitting in these seats of power, playing political chess with people's lives. They want to give tax breaks to their mega donors while their voters who actually put them in this seat are going to die.
Yeah.
It's very simple. People are going to die because of the cuts made in this bill.
Go ahead.
You look at the other subsidies that are being cut, right? The other social programs that are being cut. The next biggest one is SNAP. SNAP, well, we're going to take away your health care and we're going to starve you.
That's literally.
That's what this bill does. And it's not just it's going to impact school lunch and something like that. It's impacting people's ability to put food in the refrigerator. And I know there's people out there, oh, well, people on SNAP and EBT, they just go buy chips and they get fish and stuff like that. If the framework of what you can buy is your issue, change the framework.
That's right. That's
Don't cut people
and everybody
off.
is not guilty of doing that.
Correct.
We can't allow 10 of the 2,000 to be the megaphone of that organization. As a son, a child who was raised, they didn't call it SNAP then, they called it we had food stamps. Okay, ours were color. We didn't get the opportunity to have a credit card looking like a normal person. It was brown, it was green, it was those colors. But my mother fed 5 children. She sent all 5 of them to college, and we're all doing well today. I will never ever play the game that, whether it be the food stamps, whether it be welfare, it helps people. Some people do use the system inappropriately. Deal with them. Like you said, if you feel they should not buy potato chips, take potato chips off of the list. Don't kill a program where a family is starving, and people don't understand the impact. And I'm glad you shared. A lot of the ruby red states are affected, but I don't want to wait until it's an outcry from them. It needs to be stopped now. And that's what my problem is.
Listen, at the end of the day, I would think an elected official would want to do something that pleases their base. And when the vast majority of your base, even though you tricked them into believing you're just like them, these are programs that they rely on. And again, just Alabama is seeing a 1.5% cut for SNAP, 4.9% cut for Medicaid, right? That is huge, huge, huge. Then that transfers the balance, the burden onto the state. Now, like I just explained here in Delaware, we're going to put some money up. We have additional revenue coming in. We're going to put some money up to help with food programs. We're going to put some money up to help with healthcare here. So it won't cover everything that's being cut, but it will still help some people. Other states aren't willing to do that. right?
Or some can't.
Some
do that.
can't. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. They're operating in a deficit because they have so low taxes, right? And again, y'all can look at my record. I do not vote to raise taxes, but taxes where they're at right now are beneficial to creating a safety net for your state, for your city, for your county, whatsoever, in order to do that. Now, speaking of taxes, some of the other things that are going to be impacted are corporate taxes, right? Corporate taxes or personal income taxes are going to be impacted by this. You're going to see ours go up if you're making under $250,000.
Oh wow. Mine going up.
Mine's going up.
Yeah.
A lot. And I already pay too much in taxes, I think. You're going to see higher interest rates when it comes to trying to purchase a home or purchase a car. And interest rates are already out of control right now. I purchased a car 2 years ago, and I have I think a 4% interest rate, right? But that took a lot of negotiating and good credit as well too. If I was to try to get the same exact car, same credit score and everything right now, I would be closer to a 9% interest rate today.
That's right.
And this is before this bill passes, just because of how volatile the market is right now. After this bill passed, it'll probably be in the double digits. So again, that's what we're working with right now. So again, cost of living is just going up for everyone. And then on top of that, you're going to cut assets away for even more people. So again, all of it is horrible, but I think those are the two biggest points that they are going to take your health care away and starve you.
Yeah, and for those of you who are watching us, I ask that you would please, for those on the YouTube channel where you live in other states, send a note to your congressperson, send a note to your senator sharing that this cannot happen. You have to get actively involved. You cannot sit back because maybe you don't have the economics that some other people may have. You must engage the process. People will not continue to do for you what you can do for yourself. They're trying to take away all of these benefits to give themselves more. It's important. If we just cut Donald Trump's part out of the budget for the tax back breaks for his rich folks, we can fund most of our programs 3 or 4 times. But because they are not willing to make the rich suffer a little bit, we're going to find ourselves in a bad situation. And I really feel bad because a lot of us are being silent and we're not speaking up, but it will affect us. And if we think crime is an issue, when you start taking away stuff and people have to starve, you see what's going on even in those over there in, was it Gaza, where they're trying to get food so strongly that they're hurting each other. If you really want to see crime go up and things get out of control, let our people start starving or in desperate need of something. This is where it comes from, and we really gonna have to deal with it, Kobe. I don't know what else I could do. I wanted to take this time to talk a little bit about it, and we're going to see, when is the vote scheduled to take place?
They haven't set a final date yet. Probably within the next month, they'll try to get one done.
As they said before Independence Day.
They're still fighting hard.
Yeah. Okay. And what was that thing Margaret Taylor Greene was saying? If she was in the budget, she would have not voted. Do you remember what that was?
I don't remember what exactly it was.
Okay. I got to look that up for reasons, because if they would just read. And that's why if you would just call, if you would just send an email, if you would just do something, all of this can be handled. Because whether you live in a Democratic city or state or a Republican one, you got to voice your opinion. So your senator will recognize, read the bill, and then vote no. We have to do better. Do you think your projection, at the end of every show, I always ask you to predict. I predicted that it would not. Last time you predicted that it would pass. Where's your predictions now?
I think it's not going to pass without some major changes to it, and then it has to go back to the other side. But I do think they're gonna fight it for a while, and then they're gonna make some major changes, then pass it.
Okay. That's our show today, Kobe. Anything else you got in your corner?
That's all I have.
Well, listen, until the next time we get together, don't forget, follow us. Go to YouTube. Go to the Zion Fair. You see it on your screen now, our page. Look at us, and if you miss a show, look at that a little bit later. We come on every Sunday at 5 p.m. I want you to be a part of this. Follow us, and we appreciate you. Until the next time, God bless.
Take care, y'all.
You've been watching The Sword with host Dr. C.T. Curry and co-host Kobe Owens. Tune in every Sunday at 5 p.m. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest episodes.